I was expecting a countdown.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Middleman podcast that you can find both on YouTube, Spotify, and when I saw a few technical issues there, also on the Apple Podcasts. And today, my special guest is the lovely Julia Rudakova. She's a holistic health practitioner, and we're going to be talking all things energy healing and anything else that flows outside of that. So, welcome, Julia. How are you today?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to another episode. This will be episode 5, so it's already picking up.
That's my favorite number.
Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that favorite number, and I get you on number 5. I love the synchronicities already. This is how magic works, folks. Synchronicities already, and I didn't even know that was Julia's favorite number. So, well, let's delve into that a little bit. Why is 5 your favorite number?
Why 5 is my favorite number.
Yeah.
It's one of the favorites. It's not like favorite, but I like that. I don't know. I'm drawn to odd numbers more than even.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Does that means you're a little bit of an odd character, or?
You may say so. Definitely not mainstream.
Well, that's true. That's true. Who wants to be mainstream these days? Although, like a lot of the healing modalities are becoming mainstream, which is great.
Which is great.
More
Yes.
and more people are turning away from your old health practitioners and are turning more to the alternative and holistic.
Yeah, probably Reiki, the word that was very rare like 10 years ago, right? Now it's probably everyone has heard of it at some point in time.
Yeah, I live on the Gold Coast, and there's just so many Reiki practitioners.
Per capita.
Yeah, it's probably the most per capita in the whole world, probably.
Yeah.
More Reiki practitioners than there are golf courses, I think.
That is so funny. It's the same as in my area. We have so many naturopaths and natural health practitioners where I live in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne in the Dandenongs. And yeah, we always joke about that per capita it's like the most densely populated, like naturopath per capita.
And what's your speciality?
My specialty, well, I am a naturopath and herbalist. I do all the physical stuff, but through my personal journey and as a mum and watching children, struggle with certain health issues, I just came to energy healing quite a few years ago now. Can't even tell you when it started. I've always been drawn to that, as a child, as a teenager. Yeah, I didn't realize that at the time, but looking back at things that I used to do, kind of meditative things that I didn't know that it was a meditation, right?
Yeah.
Or, when I was a teenager, I think it was 17 or something like that, and going through very tough times in my family, feeling really broken and isolated. And I went to the church because I thought, I just felt that I needed something. And, I'm not a religious person, but that was a step towards, something higher than me, something more than me, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I did get something out of it.
That's lovely. Yeah, well, faith is a big part of energy healing.
Yeah.
A lot of it's done in vision work. You don't necessarily always get physical confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the people do feel lighter when they walk away, so they get the physical stuff. But as actual practitioners channeling the energy, we have to operate on faith a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose that's what's called faith healing, or it was back a long time ago. Faith healing. It's just we just get different terms now.
Mm. And like energy healing, a lot of people kind of a bit skeptical about that. But even like going to church or walking into a room and you can feel, lighter or happier, or you can feel really down, like, there's a bit tension in the room. Like we all feel it. Yeah, we can all feel it very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a good way to sort of encourage people who are a bit skeptical or even reluctant, saying, well, have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy in the room? They're gone, yeah. So then how would you then feel that energy healing isn't a thing? Because you felt that energy, which is normally a bad energy, because that's normally the way it's associated, that, you know, you walk into a room, you can cut a knife with the atmosphere.
Exactly. That's how we get those expressions in the language, right? The language gives us all this. You know, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife, you know, the tension with a knife, and the tension is the energy. And we kind of identify it as something physical, solid. Yeah.
Yeah, and our auras, the aura is not a new concept. You know, that's been an accepted concept long before Reiki.
Yeah.
You know, and for a while, like Kirlian photography was a buzz thing. I wouldn't know when that actually came out, but yeah, that was a big thing at one point, because it was taking photographs of the aura. I mean, it's softened a bit now. You don't find so many. When you go to the spiritual shows, you would often find a Kirlian photographer there, but not so much these days. I think people are still fascinated by the card readings and Reiki and the energy healings and all the different types of energy healings out there. So which one do you tend to use? Are you Reiki or are you others? Or
Well, I did do Reiki, like the course. I didn't do much of a practice of Reiki, but I'm familiar with the concept and how it works and all that. And it's a beautiful modality. It is a beautiful modality. And when I work with people, you know, especially to explain the concept of energy, the very first basic step, and it comes from like Qigong Tai Chi that I love, you know, you ask them to rub their palms together like this, like rub the palms vigorously and then separate them. And it's so easy to feel this ball of energy, right?
yeah,
And, oh wow. And I'm like, that's what I feel, but I can feel it without rubbing my hands. And I
yeah,
can feel it without even, you know, doing this, just sitting and looking at you, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, even just me mentioning Reiki has turned my Reiki energy on, and now my temperature's gone up by about 10 degrees. I just feel really hot because my Reiki energy is flowing through my body, and so that means you'll receive some healing energy during this podcast, which is great. So you'll walk away feeling lovely and light and fluffy. And anybody else
But
watching it,
everyone receives that.
yeah, I was about to say everyone watching this will receive warm and fluffy energy.
Yay.
Mm.
How good is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I dived into that, and you know, there is also a teaching that I really, really love, and it's Alice Bailey's teachings, you know, about esoteric healing. And I like the word esoteric. It's
yeah, yeah.
so beautiful. I don't have any view energy around that. I think it's such a great way to describe what it is, right?
Yeah, yeah,
What's
lovely word.
esoteric for you, by the way, Roy?
Esoteric, it's not a word I use that often. For
Yeah,
me, it's a mystical word, I think, for me.
it's a mystical word. So it's
Yeah,
basically knowledge that's open to a few people who actually open their minds and open their hearts and souls to that. Because
yeah,
what happens, like why we see all the people that need healing, is because they're yet to open up. Yeah, they
yeah,
they yearning for that healing. They want that. They come to see people for guidance, right? And I often say, like, I can't do the healing. You doing the healing. I'm just there to help you
yeah,
open up. Yeah.
yeah. We're the space holders.
Yeah. So that's where esoteric comes from. So it's for those who open minded, open hearted, and who diligent to practice that.
I remember years ago I read the Kabbalion, which is based around the Emerald Tablets and the ibis-headed god of Egypt, Thoth. I would say that's esoteric. It was a challenging read because it was really going places that was stretching your mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, if a book doesn't stretch your mind,
Yes, some books and teachings, they're really, really not easy to understand, to make sense of, right?
yeah,
And I think that's for a purpose too.
yeah. And there was another one based around the Tao. Oh, what was it called? Oh, there's one word I can't think off the top of my head. It's the something Book of the Dead. It's
Uh-huh.
oh, I'd have to research that, but that was a really mind stretching read. That
Yeah.
yeah, I had to do it in small chunks. I think it might be the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And
Uh-huh. Yeah, right.
I'll have to. What I'll do for those that are listening, I'll put it in the description. Once I've done the research, I'll put it in the description because I'll have to look it up.
To find a way so that I'm not too in the dark here. All right.
Now, light and shadow, part of the healing system. Because that's what, more often than not, when we're doing energy healing, that's what we're shining light on, aren't we? We're shining light on the person's shadow, the things they're trying to hide that's preventing them moving forward or preventing them healing from an actual physical ailment.
Yeah. The duality. It's beautiful,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, we're in this universe of duality. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So prior to energy healing, you said you did naturopathy. So for those that
Well,
aren't
not
fully aware of what
exactly.
that is, what is that?
Our naturopathy, well, it wasn't exactly prior to. The timeline is very warped there.
Okay, yeah, well, that's okay.
But naturopathy is basically it's natural medicine, which looks at the person in a holistic way, not as a liver issue or mental issue. It's the person is regarded as a whole, and where all the systems communicate to each other, all the organs speak to each other, all hormones are interconnected, interrelated. And what we also use energy medicine. So, for example, homeopathy is energy.
Mm.
Like in dilution of 30C potency, there is no molecule left beyond that, and it still works beautifully, right?
Wow, yeah,
And we use flower essences, which is pure energy as well.
yeah.
And but we also use things like herbs, nutrients, nutritional medicine is big. But I'm mostly drawn to herbs and vibrational medicine because it's so safe. Homeopathy is safe, can be given to infants, to elderly people, people who can't even, open the mouth. You can put it just on the lip, on the skin, and it will work.
Yeah, well, the skin absorbs many things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember years ago, I went to a Chinese medicine person. I injured my heel playing football, and that's because you still have to work during the day. That was my intuition said, yeah, go see a Chinese health medicine and do acupuncture as well. And they gave me this bag of herbs that looked like seaweed and coral and all kinds of things, and I just had to put them in a pot, boil them, and soak my foot in them. And yeah, it did a great. I think it sorted it out in like 2 weeks.
So you didn't have to take it internally. You
No,
just,
no, because a friend of mine says, "Oh, you're gonna have to drink that," and I went, "No, no, thankfully not," because it turned out to be red and looked like really weak beetroot water. But no, this particular one, I soaked my feet in it and it sorted it out. But the interesting thing I found about that was like when I first went there, they just said, "Oh, stand in front of me, stick your tongue out," and they just did the whole assessment with how my tongue looked,
yeah.
with the ridges and the color of it and the whiteness and everything. It was just like, yeah, any kind of healing modality that has that simplicity to it, I just love.
Yes, and it's funny you mentioned that because there was this wonderful herbalist. He was French, Maurice Messeguet, I think. And that's how it was traditionally. Like you didn't have to drink all those herbs. He actually treated people with food baths, through feet. They detoxed or, absorbed nutrients from a food bath, from a herbal food bath.
Yeah,
Very
well,
he prescribed it internally.
yeah, well, they say like when you ground. So for those people that have heard about grounding but don't fully understand it, essentially when we get our bare feet on the ground, and I think it's a minimum of about 20 minutes, it balances out your blood system because you're starting to magnetize with Mother Earth because we're essentially magnetic beings with this. Our aura is a magnetic field essentially, and yeah, and it a lot of like negative ions in our body become positive ions, and we feel calmer, more relaxed, and because we're drawing in this energy through the balls of our feet. And there's actually even people out there that have learned through practice and discipline to draw nutrients through their feet, and they don't really eat. They drink, but to eat, they just go for a walk. And that fascinates me, you know.
Yeah. And on that topic, there's one more thing. There's so many things that we can do just utilizing sunlight, earth energy, right? We
Yeah.
don't need much. And one of my brilliant mentors, she passed away last year, Judy Jacker. Not sure if you've heard of her, but she brought into Australia this knowledge about ley lines. Have you heard of ley lines?
Yeah. So ley lines,
Yeah. And so there are different lines. There is an iron, calcium, like all minerals basically. And once you know how far away they're from each other, because there is a structure to that, you know, the earth structure.
Yeah.
And once you map
The
them
light
out
grid.
and just standing on them, you know, and like maybe breathing, just standing on them will give you. So for people who are iron deficient, they can draw from that. Just standing with your bare feet, yeah, without any batteries on you, like, yeah, no watch, no smartwatch. And she even said that even nail polish interferes a little bit.
Oh, is that because of the acetone? Oh, no,
Yeah.
acetone. Yeah, acetone removes nail polish. I don't know if it's in
These
nail polish.
chemicals, yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes there is this metallic nail polish, you know, it's probably that too. But
Yeah, I mean, ley lines. So a lot of the really historical sites around the world are on top of a ley line, and a
yeah,
lot of churches are built on top of ley lines.
exactly.
They knew.
And nowadays, no one thinks where to build a house. We have these estates where people get sick and they don't know what's happening. And, you know, they research mold, they research this, but sometimes it's just a thing that the bed stands in that spot where you simply can't heal, you can't sleep properly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you know, someone
That
who lived there
positioning.
previously was very depressed and left that real that energy vacuum in the house. And if you don't get your house cleansed, so a house cleansing is, especially look, if it's a brand new house, you're less likely to get that. But older houses, it's well worth before moving into an older house is to have a house cleansed.
Yeah.
I think there's such a thing. There is. I think the geomancy is where you can balance out and you use these special little machines that you can build easily. They're just like a copper rod type of thing that
Mm.
direct the energy, and you can balance out the energy of a house or a field. So if farmers' crops aren't growing and they don't know why,
Yeah.
they can call on a geomancer,
Yeah.
and they will balance out that field, and the crops will grow.
Yeah, you can definitely direct it or just, you know, move your bed a little bit, like, you know, a meter away from that spot, and that will do the trick.
Yeah, so that's the principles of feng shui.
It's not only feng shui, but I'm talking about the ley
Yeah.
lines. You know, the positioning is just not there. And maybe feng shui, they look at that. I'm not familiar with feng shui to that extent.
Yes, the ancient feng shui, they feel the energy of the room and then decide which is the best way to keep that energy flow through the room in regards to where you put your furniture.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny, like with all these ancient, like TCM, Feng Shui, you know, TCM, they talk about the energy flow in the body, you know, along the meridian channels, energy channels, the chi channels, what have you. And only recently in labs, they use the electrodes and they try to map and see what's happening along those channels. And they actually ascertained that, yes, there's some electrical signals that are different in those energy channels, right? And that's something that ancient people knew without all this
Yeah.
technology,
Well,
right?
there's intuitive people that can feel it. I don't know about yourself, but myself, I'm an intuitive energy healer and a medical intuitive, and I can feel pain in my own body, and I can feel what's going on in that person in my own body, so I know exactly where it is. I only get about 10% of the pain, but but they give me enough to know I feel it in such a way so I know what the intensity is in that person, and
Okay,
then I'm able to pinpoint it, and then also get all the intuitive knowledge download of what it actually is as well, and what's the imbalance. So my medical intuitive side at the moment, I tend to just tweak people's diets. They might be missing, like there was one I did recently, and the lady just needed watermelon in her diet, watermelon and coconut water. just that would improve our mood. And it's just these little things that we won't even consider that creates this profound difference in our mood or our energy.
Yeah.
And more often than not, it is something that subtle.
Yes, and I love it, love it. And
Yeah.
that was hydration. So watermelon, a lot of water there, right?
Yeah.
Water, and it's natural hydration. And because I work with nutrition as well, and you're doing it intuitively with your, senses, but I was trained and I have this knowledge, and it was drilled into us that we need to make people drink like liters and liters of water.
Yeah.
And it never sat well with me because like pure, just water, just water.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, and even with TCM perspective, when you drink that much water, it puts so much strain on your kidneys. And kidneys in TCM, they're like batteries for life, right? They hold this charge for you. And the battery goes like this. That's the hardest organ to balance in terms of TCM.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is possible. I believe that.
And what's TCM?
Traditional Chinese medicine.
Traditional Chinese. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Should clarified. And for me, like you eat for hydration, like vegetables, fruit, coconut water, because they all contain other things. They don't only strip you from electrolytes. When you drink water, all electrolytes go out of you. Right?
Yeah, yes. So a little tip out there for people that are listening: putting a little bit of Himalayan pink salt in your water, just a tiny bit. That contains quite a lot of electrolytes.
Yes. So, or spring water naturally contains minerals. Yeah, but we don't drink spring water anymore. We drink tap water.
Yeah, well,
it's filtered and stuff added into that water, right?
It's called dead water, tap water, because there's nothing. Your body, because of the size of the oxygen molecules, your body really struggles to absorb it, which is why you get bloated after a cup and a half of tap water. I've got a water filter that creates the water alkaline and ionizes the water, so my body really absorbs it quickly. So yeah, because a lot of the time, a lot of illness and disease is created because we're dehydrated.
Yes. And sometimes I see in my practice people drinking 2-3 liters of water a day, and I still see signs of dehydration because it's tap water and just goes through strips of all minerals. They feel like crap, after drinking.
Yeah, and plus the chlorine and all the other bad stuff that they put in it.
Fluoride.
Fluoride, definitely. Yeah, it calcifies the pineal gland.
So the message is, if you don't have access to spring water, then please invest into a filter, into a really good quality filter, not the Brita from the shop, from the supermarket. That doesn't do much.
No, because look, I mean, I have Kangen water, which they originally sort of did it that way because of the water that was found naturally. The Lourdes in France, there was a place in Mexico, and they couldn't understand why nobody in those places ever got sick. And so I think at one point someone did some tests and tested the water and found out this water had all these magical properties.
Yeah.
And they recreated it. And originally these Kangen machines, they were used in Japanese hospitals. They were originally there to sterilize all the equipment, and then they started putting them out there for the general public.
Yeah, I'm actually familiar with that technology. I think it's brilliant. It's kind of restructures the water, the tap water. Or you can use any water and it filters and restructures it so that it's more absorbable and the cells can utilize that.
Yeah. And I've been drinking that for 5 years now, and I can drink anything else now. I can't drink tap water now because it just smells wrong, doesn't do anything. That's why if I'm out and about and I didn't take enough of my Kangen with me, I'll find a supermarket or a garage and get coconut water.
A coconut water is the best if you don't have anything else.
Yeah, and I love coconut water. And when my son plays sport, I'll say, drink coconut water. Stay away from all these energizer drinks because they're just sugar.
Yeah.
And they actually dehydrate you in the long run.
I mean, there are other things like, I like brassica powder, which is basically electrolyte powder, but there is no baddies. It's just, you put a bit of that in your water bottle, in your structured water or your filtered water. And like if you do a lot of sport and sweat a lot, it's really good to add back.
And the good thing about coconut water is it's always a little bit cheaper than the hydro drinks anyway.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah, and because like they're normally about 750 ml. Well, coconut water always normally comes in a 1 litre, so you get a bit more for slightly less, and it's got all the natural electrolytes in it.
And don't you always wonder how that bright blue or bright red color is good for you?
I know, yeah. Considering like even in my day, there was talking about the E numbers weren't good for you. And that was back in the 80s, and it's just got even more prevalent now.
Yeah, that's right.
I know a few people that do have children who've got ADHD, and one of the things they have to really watch is the artificial stuff in their diet, because it just triggers them. Yeah. So how long, when did you actually start your healing journey? Like, how long have you been doing energy healing?
With energy healing, let me see. That was after, full on kind of immersion happened after my second son was born, and he's 12 now. So just over 10 years, maybe, like 11 years. Yeah, because he was born very sick.
Yeah.
And basically being a naturopath already, I kind of did everything I could, more research, and it was amazing. We achieved quite good results, but not quite there. And energy healing was that missing link.
Yeah. And are you a Reiki master, or did you get to Reiki master?
I did Reiki practitioner, just the base level. I'm not sure what it's
Reiki
called.
1. So you got Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and master.
Okay, maybe Reiki 1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2. Yeah.
The master, definitely not the master.
No, that's okay. Because look, for me, this is my take on it, right? My Reiki 1 is about the inner journey. So it's getting you introduced to how energy work works within you, and self-healing and self-cleaning, and bringing in that ability to channel energy in a more clearer way. Then Reiki 2 is how you then utilize it working with others, and again shows you how that can affect your body, and how to do it with framework and protection, and love and light, and helping the clients understand as well. And then for me, when you do the master, that's where it becomes a daily practice.
Yeah.
So it becomes just part of your life, that you don't necessarily work with others, but it's something you just incorporate as like a philosophy. Yeah, because it's got such brilliant history around it of all the modalities. I love the history around Reiki. The fact that he did Dr. Rasui traveled around and took philosophy off a lot of other religions and other modalities, and then went and sat on a mountain for 21 days and got the download of Reiki.
And that's what I like about what you just said, and that it becomes part of your life. It's you, you incorporate it, integrate it into your kind of cellular memory, into that deep, physical and higher spiritual level, right?
Yeah.
It kind of all through all the layers, we have physical, emotional, mental, etheric bodies. So it kind of becomes part of it, infiltrates all the layers. And, it's beautiful because you can take anything, you can take any simple meditation. I believe that. And just with that, if you do it profoundly, if you do it every day with all your being, giving it your 100%, you can just do this. We have this system, Reiki, I did esoteric acupuncture, and they are such profound systems, and by acupuncture, it's not only needles, it's for everyone. You can do it without needles. You just work with points, and it's like sacred geometry sort of thing.
Yeah, I remember years ago doing a Reiki day, and I was intuitively guided to get 2 of the crystal points, and I was using them, and then they said, right, you're doing crystal acupuncture, you're doing intuitive acupuncture. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So when Reiki for me, it's like, it's a base that you flow with. That gives you the entryway, and then you just allow your intuition to flow with it, and you can do some really incredible, profound healings through that doorway of Reiki.
Yeah.
And that will apply to probably, other healing modalities as well.
But it becomes your life. There is no separation, I'm a Reiki practitioner and then I'm just Roy, right? This is
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Well, I'm a healer. It's
Yes.
healing's not what I do; it's what I am. I was born that way, and then I just had to do the journey. Then the
Yeah.
actual energy turned my healing energy turned on about 4 years before I even did Reiki.
Mm.
So my Reiki energy just turned on one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it helped me through a really tough period in my life
Mm.
without me realizing. And then Reiki came along, and I was like, "Oh, that's what that energy is."
Yeah, but what I like about you is that this integrity, that it's really, what is, this is your life, right?
Mm.
Because there are a lot of healers and naturopaths who do this as work, and then there is life.
Yeah, yeah. No, you've got to live it first because that
Very
makes
separate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, for me, it is. It's a way of life, and when you carry that within you, they feel that.
Yeah.
Because for me, the reason I do that is I don't need to prepare so much. It's like I don't need to turn on.
Yeah.
I'll just go, all right, there's an opportunity there to help someone, ask permission. Yeah, permission's granted. My energy's on. Doesn't matter where I'm at, whether it's at a dinner table out for a night. I actually did that on Saturday night. We're just talking about something, and the lady just needed some work on her heart. And I just went, all right, give me a quick second just to cut my cords and ask permission. But I didn't really need to do any really deep types of sacred rituals to connect because I live it. Me waking up is the sacred
Don't,
ritual to connect.
yeah, but don't you find it when you live it and when you're that connected, there's no need for that big ritual, big setup. It can be just like that. Right?
Absolutely.
It can be instant. The healing can be instant. The connection can be instant. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, just like, even at the start of this podcast, as soon as I said the word Reiki, that was it. Like, oh, is he working on?
Yes. Yes. For you, it's all happening
Yeah.
internally, externally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my other intuitive abilities work the same way. Some of
Mm.
mediumship can just be like that. And yeah, whatever it is, it's just there. Easy
Yeah, there
access.
is no need of, doing the drums and putting
Mm.
the candles and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stage,
Yeah.
which is
I mean,
beautiful. And, I see that all those rituals, I think, are very important at the start of the journey, right? Because it creates this memory. Like,
mm,
I had a break from Tai Chi. Like, I have this group. It's always beautiful to do things in a group, right? There's
yeah, I
this,
love Tai Chi.
like, you can do everything by yourself, but it's nice to join people. So I had a break. There was COVID and there was like personal stuff. And then I decided to go back and to practice that with people, to do Qigong together. And, the minute I put my uniform on, the Tai Chi pants, and the whole neurology changed, I felt differently. It's just the body remembered. I didn't do any moves yet, I didn't think. It's just, and the same with rituals, you set it all up and everything shifts, you're in
Yeah.
the right place. Yeah.
I'm not so sure about Melbourne, but up here in the Gold Coast, there are free Tai Chi classes on at 8 in the morning in a couple of locations. You can just turn up and do Tai Chi in the morning and yoga. Some do yoga as well. Yeah. So that it's beautiful that people do that.
Exactly. In China, they practice it in parks. It's all free. It's part
Yeah.
of the culture. They just get together in parks and do that.
Yeah. And it's mindfulness as well. It's a great way to start the day. And
Yeah.
then it just sets you up for the day. That
And it's also
mindfulness and that
healing to
slow
watch.
body movement.
Yeah. It's
So
healing to watch, to observe.
yeah. So for those that have like limited movement or injuries, Tai Chi's fantastic because you're standing still, you're just gently moving and yeah.
That's Qigong. That's Qigong when you start.
Tai Chi is also like that.
Tai Chi, they have
A little bit of movement. Hmm.
yeah, and you need to have flexibility because some postures like really low, you have to have strong knees and strong hips.
Yeah, but there's no strong discipline around you actually doing it like that. Some, that's what I meant because it's an ancient martial art really that just got converted to. It just got slowed down.
Yeah, it is
Mm.
martial art. Yeah.
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 Well, Qigong is more like an energy gathering, energy directing sort of practice. Yeah.
And how long have you been doing Qigong?
That's been about 9 years.
And how would you use that as a healing modality?
As a healing modality, well, it's a great kind of hygiene, energy hygiene. And you know what? With time, in esoteric acupuncture, we talk about tiers of density. You know how we move in our evolution through different tiers.
Yeah.
The tier one is, people are concerned about the bottom of the Maslow pyramid. Yeah, like the safety, shelter, food. Yeah, and then you move through, higher ideas and goals, right? And then the top tier is basically even, you don't even need that movement, even if it's healing and holistic, right? It's the stillness that you crave.
Mm.
I mean, the stillness and connection. And
Yeah.
that's enough. And that allows for fat metabolic, like you don't even need to exercise. I know it's kind of, sounds terrible.
Well, Dr. Joe Dispenza, I think it was his book, when I was reading one of his books, and he's saying, like, well, I read this somewhere, I can't remember quite where, but someone did an experiment where they got 10 people to actually exercise
Mm-hmm.
and 10 people to sit there and meditate and visualize them exercising,
Yeah.
and be really intense about it, like be really focused about it. And they both groups lost about the same muscle mass, or created about the same muscle mass, as though they've both been physically exercising. So, yeah, if you don't like exercising, but you like lying there and doing nothing, you can focus for 10 minutes, just picture yourself exercising, but
Yeah.
make sure that within that visualization, you're visualizing that you are lifting the barbells, and you're looking at what the weights are,
Yeah.
yeah, do that for a couple of weeks and your body will change.
Yes, I remember reading about that experiment. Isn't that mind blowing, right?
Yeah, because what you're putting visually into your body's still experiencing that, and that's why that works, because your body still thinks it's real,
Yeah.
because the mind tells the body what's going on. So when you're giving them, when you're creating in your mind that picture, you're telling the body, you're exercising right now.
Yes. And we came to one of our favorite topics now, because we both did NLP course, and how important it is to work with the mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
to
the unconscious
direct
mind.
the mind, and the mind directs your life. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so beautiful to choose the words, even that the language is so, so important. I have a background in linguistics. That was my first degree in linguistics. So I love language and the power of language. And
yeah, and we don't realize how negative we speak.
yeah,
And that's the biggest thing for me. Like, the unconscious mind does not hear the word not, does not hear negatives. So it'll only hear the verb that you're talking about. So if you're saying, no, I don't want that, you're really saying, I want that. And when you aren't aware of that, you're wondering why all these negative things are coming into your life, because you're saying you don't want them when you're actually really saying, I want them. And
yeah,
once you figure that out, you change your language very quickly.
yeah. Like, I don't want that job, I don't want that relationship. And
Mm.
it's basically, you're left with little money in the bank.
Yeah. So again, a little tip out there: focus on what you want. So
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than saying, "Oh, I don't want debt," just say, "Okay, I want to be abundant. I want to have a healthy bank account." Because a lot of people tend to focus on money first when they're learning manifesting.
Yeah.
It's just about speaking in the positive, and then practicing that, and not being hard on yourself when you get it wrong. Because in the beginning, you're not gonna get it straight away. Some people will, but the
Yeah.
majority, it takes a little bit of time to get that habit formed around speaking positively.
Yeah. 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 And with the mind, it's always fascinated me, like, what is mind, It's not the brain. Like, what is it?
Mm.
Talk about mind and mindset. Is it a way of thinking? What's the mind for you?
So for me, the mind is the unconscious mind, the one that's the framework of the physical body. And then for me, I have the intuitive mind, which is the connection to the universe.
Where does it sit in the body?
Well, the intuitive mind will connect through the pineal gland. So the pineal gland is the connection between the intuitive mind and the unconscious mind.
Yeah.
So between the energetical and the physical. So
Yeah.
for me, the unconscious mind is still physical,
Yeah. Well,
located in the
the mind
physical
is like
brain.
this field, this energy field
Yeah.
sort of thing that does come through glands and organs. Yes. But
Mm.
it's more like it's not the brain, right? Because people always think the mind is like here. Well,
Yeah.
the pineal gland is in the brain.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably why we do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
but the whole brain, I read somewhere that it's the transmitter and receiver of frequencies, the
Yeah.
brain itself, the organ,
Mm.
right? And then the pineal gland is there. So it's amazing, isn't it? That
Yeah,
we
the way I described it to someone yesterday actually was because they was asking me about it, and I said, "Well, to me, imagine the mind, the unconscious mind to be like the registry in Windows. The Windows operating system has its registry. To me, that's the unconscious mind, and then the intuitive mind is the internet.
yeah,
They both connect, but you tend to download stuff off the internet. That's where all the information is in the intuitive mind. And then when it goes into the registry, the unconscious mind then creates your reality.
that's a good analogy.
That's the way I see it. So then Windows itself, the operating system, you press all the buttons, that's your physical body. So when something's going wrong in Windows, there's normally something wrong in registry, and you can get the answer off the internet.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So and it's because most people use Windows. I mean, I know there's Apple people out there that doesn't have a registry, but the analogy doesn't work with Apple because nothing works with Apple unless you've got Apple. So even that kind of works.
Oh, that is so funny.
Everything works with Windows
No
because
offense
they've
to
made it open. They've made it easy to connect.
it.
Apple
Yeah,
are just a bit enclosed, but
yeah.
yeah, which it's probably the reason. And funny enough, someone pointed out that I was struggling to activate my Apple podcast account, and they said, "Well, that's because you don't like Apple." And I went, "Yeah, I know. I knew I was manifesting that. That wasn't lost on me. I did think of that.
That's true though.
Yeah,
I totally.
but interesting enough, energy does
Yeah,
dictate and create our physical reality,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
which is why it's actually, yeah, it's imperative to learn about energy,
it is.
or at least be aware that it has a very big factor into how we operate.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not some woo-woo thing that's pretend.
absolutely. And the that Reiki one um, course is a good entry point into that
Yeah.
because they give it in a really easy to understand way. Or even doing Tai Chi and Qigong or yoga,
Mm.
but with a very good teacher.
Yeah, yoga is another good. What I call Reiki 1, yoga, Tai Chi. They're like gateway drugs into spirituality.
Exactly, because it's through the physical. We live in the physical world, right? And it's through this physical that we get there. Oftentimes, what I notice, people start with nutrition and food and do fasting and challenge the body in that way, we push the boundaries of the physical, and then they get, or even lower than that, gym, workouts and pushing yourself there, that's mindset work as well, right? And
Yeah,
then that you go a bit higher and higher. Yeah.
yeah, and there's many ways to meditate as well. So I can actually meditate when I'm driving because my human body does the driving. So I'm able to zone out but still be present, still drive safely. But I'm able to receive a lot of information. And when I'm in the shower, cycling, walking, basically all the places that my intuitive guides know I'm nowhere near a pen. Oh, let's give him some download. Let's give him some really gold information while he can't write it down. And I think they do that just to have some fun. See if I can test in my memory. But yeah, meditate. Anything's meditating that quietens the mind, that opens the channel up to receive information that's not a thought.
Yeah.
That you're not logically trying to work out. Yeah. Yeah. And what's next on your journey? Is there any new things that you're looking to learn in the near future, or?
We always learn, don't we?
Mm.
Like, it's so good to exercise your brain.
Anything specific though? You're going to expand on your healing abilities or learn new modalities?
I think I always expand. And it's at the moment Like I finished the esoteric acupuncture advanced level this year. And it's just something that I want to integrate a bit more. And I offer that to my clients now. And it's just beautiful to watch the effect of that on their lives. So, yeah, I'm just doing what I'm doing.
Excellent. And how is esoteric different to normal acupuncture?
All right. So, the work is by Dr. Mikio Sankey, if you want to look it up. And basically, it's this wisdom of working with the points, the acupuncture points, but there is no need. So, we can do it online even with you now. There is no need of inserting anything into the point. It's about focusing your attention at a certain point and linking those points into in your mind's eye and visualizing the connection and the grid.
Perfect.
Right?
People that don't like needles, eh?
Yeah. And in practice, when I see people face to face, sometimes it's needles, but sometimes it's essential oils.
Mm.
And sometimes it's a tuning fork.
Oh, the tuning fork, they're great. Yeah, the healing through the tuning forks. I think that might be my next thing. I might get some tuning forks.
Put it on the point.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And it's beautiful. But
Yeah.
it's great to do it. I actually love doing it online with people because that's a really process of doing it with someone instead of doing it on someone,
Yeah.
because you engage them, you ask their feedback. Did you get that? Did you get the connection between the points? And then once it's all built, they just rest in that and you slowly bring them back.
Yeah, and look, that's the great thing about energy healing. We don't do it on you, we work with you.
Yeah. Well, ideally, yes.
Yeah. And you work with the client, it helps them feel more comfortable. And the more they open up, the more information we can receive, the more energy they can receive.
Yeah.
Be open to, and therefore the greater the experience and the greater ability to let go of things.
Yes. And I just wanted to finish with, I even created this hashtag on my social media. It's you heal you.
Yes.
I don't heal you. I'm here to support, to provide information, to do the processes with you, to teach the processes.
Yep, we're the channel.
Yeah, that's
We're the
what.
middleman.
Yes, yes, love that name. That is very clever.
Which is why I did that, because like I'm a medium, and a medium is just another word for a middleman. And then when I was talking about that with a few people, they went, "Oh, that's such an awesome name." I went, "Right, that's my name." That's because I knew I needed a rebrand,
Yeah.
and I was because my intuition was saying there's a change coming, and then this all just came about so easily. And energy work isn't necessarily always about healing. Sometimes it encompasses everything. In this scenario, it was just about information, and the change for me has been healing because it's opening me up. It's created the podcast, which then enables me to reach more people. Because my goal a few years ago, or my intuitive drive a few years ago, was rather than do one-to-one, was to do one-to-many. That's where I was being guided to start doing one-to-many. And now I'm doing that.
Great.
Right in divine timing.
Yes. Beautiful.
And getting to speak with lovely people like yourself, and finding out about your story and your journey, and giving you a platform to tell people about who you are and how you operate. And
Yes, and that's how we clicked because I felt the need to speak about this more. I think the more conversation we have, the better the reach is to people, right? We need to keep talking about this.
Yeah. And so for those that are listening and watching, because it does go on both visual and audio, for those that are considering going to see an energy healer, do it. Just even if it's just for fascination or to see how it feels, go and experience it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it'll be an experience you'll never forget. And especially when you go to the likes of Julia, the likes of myself, and all the other really powerful healers out there that truly embody the journey and aren't just doing it for a living.
Yeah.
It's a modality that's living within me that I work with.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you better.
Thank you.
And it's good to see you do plenty of lives on Instagram. So where can people find you on social media? Or if they want to book in or want to follow you?
Thanks for mentioning that. So my account's name is oxygen_revolution on Instagram. So yeah, my business name is Oxygen Revolution, and how it came about is, and I didn't mention that, funnily enough, is one of the main things that I do for people is to educate them about functional breathing, hence the name Oxygen Revolution.
Yeah.
And I like breathing because you know how respiration, it has the word spirit in the name. Yeah. So it connects the spirit and the body. So I like working with breathing.
Oh, I love that.
So things I can kind of, kind of wedge into the knowledge about, healing and energy when I work with people. So yes, Oxygen Revolution on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah. And is there a website that people can reach you to book or?
Yes, it's oxygenrevolution.com.au.
Excellent. So yeah, so basically do some Google Oxygen Revolution and you're on Facebook as well. And yes, get in touch if you'd like some esoteric acupuncture or oxygen revolutionizing.
Yes, brilliant.
Brilliant. Well, that's excellent. Well, thank you very much. And yes, I look forward to watching your journey grow.
Thanks, Roy. Likewise.
And you have a great day, and we'll no doubt chat again soon. So, everybody, thanks for listening to this episode number 5, all about energy. And yes, there'll be another podcast episode coming out soon, which I'm actually doing another interview tomorrow with this amazing lady that's in the beginning of her journey. Very, very powerfully intuitive. And yeah, so you'll find out more about that when it is finished and online with this one. And you can find me on Spotify, a few other little smaller podcasts, and find the links on my website as well. So again, thank you very much, Julia. And thank you very much for listening. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.